All live. This is the Kaizen Morning Market Update. I am your host, Bill Noble. Your eyes are not deceiving you. We are live. They will probably make an announcement, but we will be coming to you more frequently as this market gets hotter and hotter. And you need the best information possible. So within this group, you're going to have traders and you're going to have me as your analyst. So we're going to go over, just like the regular market update, we're going to go over news. I'm going to try to spin as much education in here as I can. And then we are going to go through the charts. More on the everyday market update, because I think that's what we're scaling it to. You know, there's going to be a focus on intraday and tactical charts to try to give you ideas on, you know, let's say not investment advice, but perhaps trade location or how to add to any existing positions that you may have. Okay, so we have, I'm going to need the phonetics on this, but we're going to call him K. K, we appreciate you. Ark Frazier, Malik is here. Okay. Hopefully it's not lagging. Okay. Lawrence is here. Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to the new morning market update. People may not know I'm here yet, so I'm going to gradually ease in to news. Okay, so we have the government telling us this morning that consumer prices rose 0.4% in February and 3.2% year over year. Well, isn't that nice? What is this telling you? One, the Fed's lost control, right? They raised rates to 5%, right? They raised rates to 5% after printing money. Actually, I'm reading articles this morning that they're still printing money, trying to maintain capital markets into the election. But, you know, core CPI rose 0.4%. Okay. Both measures for CPI were, you know, a tenth of a percentage point higher than normal. Okay. 2.3% increase in energy cost. Food costs were flat on the month while shelter climbed 0.4%. I don't know if there's a way to stop it. I'm going to be honest with you. Now, that sounds negative for crypto, and maybe over the next 10 days headed into this Fed meeting, you know, you may have sideways, choppy. You know, they kind of faked everybody out by ramping it yesterday prior to the inflation number. But I have like a new mantra. Who cares? Like literally, who cares? I mean, I care about the dollar, right? But when it comes to this whole, like, are they going to ease? Are they going to tighten? Or when are they going to ease? Now, later? You know what? It doesn't matter. What's important, and you will be hearing this later undoubtedly from the rest of the street, is that they have lost control. Good evening from Bangkok. Justin, Ghost, TB, welcome. They have lost control. And the only way anyone's going to get control back is by owning crypto. And that is going to cause massive inflows into the Bitcoin ETF. And then that is going to cause a massive pricing of crypto as money, which I'm going to start pounding the table on and get like the tactical read on that. So we can zoom in and find location points to try and grab this stuff over the next couple of days or day, right? In other words, you don't know when sort of the corrective energy is going to crest, and then the giga bullish stuff is going to happen. And then, of course, there's also crypto as tech. I got an article in here that says, like Nomura, which is a big, a huge Japanese investment bank, their research department, which is very reputable, is saying, it was a premium article. I couldn't get access to it, but they're basically saying the Fed is still printing money. They're still printing money under the table. They're leaving Fed funds at 5% for cosmetics, but underneath the surface to protect the banks and to levitate everything into the election. In other words, I grew up with the Fed, the image of the Fed as being independent and apolitical. or at least they were very careful about what they did during political seasons. Now, I don't think so. I think the Fed is just another arm of the deep state. They'll talk tough. They'll say whatever they're going to say. At the end of the day, they're going to levitate capital markets, and that is giga bullish for crypto. Because think about it. You only have one answer to get any type of edge on inflation. There's only one answer, and that's crypto. Okay, combined with the fact that, I don't know, I don't see them not printing money anymore unless these inflation numbers get out of control. So, then it also brings in to another point that whatever they're doing in equities, the Reddit IPO, NVIDIA, as long as equities don't really go down or they're still buying equities, then the valuations of crypto, particularly in AI, gaming hasn't even been traded yet. And one thing I've been hammering home on multiple market updates is everyone's like, well, I just got here. I missed it. Bitcoin's at 72K. You haven't missed anything. Like XRP just woke up. I don't think anyone's talking about it. I'm talking about it, but no one's talking about it. Crypto and XRP as money, and then all of these other things like payment systems, like XRP, QNT, any of these related type products that may run stable coins or any of this stuff for like foreign governments, even Stellar, right? Stellar, QNT, XRP. Who's talking about that? Nobody. One of the things that you have been paid to do is talk about what no one's talking about. So everyone's talking about inflation and blah, 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 blah. And I'm talking about the cure for inflation. Hot consumer prices hit new level, up 19% since the federal government decided to start printing money or handing out money or whatever you want to call it. Do you realize that government spending is 42% of our economy right now? It's like, that's part of what's creating inflation. Yeah, the Fed printed a whole bunch of money, but now the government is borrowing it, printing it, and handing it out. Now, sometimes you can benefit from that. Sometimes. Right? Not necessarily dissing any politician or party in general, but you cannot hand out that type of sugar without a very simple thing happening. You have a debt crisis or a debt problem. It doesn't have to be a crisis. It could be. But if you have a debt problem, the only way out of a debt problem is to devalue the currency. Period. So that doesn't have to mean the dollar has to crash and it's the zombie apocalypse like some video game, as I've said, but the dollar can just start this like orderly trend lower and then, accelerate later. And one of the things that people in crypto have not picked up on yet is what happens if you have a macro catalyst on top of this whole Bitcoin ETF and this whole idea of, AI and gaming in crypto valuations versus equities. Again, the thing you want to be talking about is the thing that no one's talking about. Okay, U.S. core inflation tops forecast reinforcing Fed caution. Whatever. Okay, consumer price index, excluding food and energy, climbed 0.4%. This is one of my favorite things about inflation statistics is, they look at it without food and energy because food and energy can, like, once upon a time, oil was at 140. So everyone was like, well, let's not count that as inflation. And now food has gone bananas because you've had fires in big processing plants for food in the United States, and food continues to spike. So it's amazing that they look at it without the things you need to buy. Now that's always been around, but it's more stupid than ever. It's more stupid than ever. Okay. U.S. shelter inflation slows after surprise jump caused confusion. Okay. A key measure of shelter inflation resolved a disconnect. Owner's equivalent rent, the largest component of U.S. CPI, blah, 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 blah. That was roughly in line with the important component of the index, rent of primary residence. Okay. U.S. rent inflation. Right. Okay. So rents are going lower in theory. In theory. It depends what area of the country you live in, right? If you're living in a blue state war zone, rents are going to go down. You know, if you're living in Austin, Texas, maybe they went down a little, but again, are these like statistical games, or are like, what is the actual impact to you? What is the actual impact? Now let's talk about this guy. So this president of Argentina, which again, you can't talk about on YouTube, but none of this stuff, just so you know, you're talking about the dollar, you're talking about deficits, you're talking about election, you're talking about anything, shut off. They will suppress anything when you talk about it, which of course means we should talk about it, just not on public YouTube. Okay. Argentinian president, I don't know, there's a scandal because he got a raise. Well, you know what? This guy deserves a raise, because you want to know the only country where food inflation is under control? His country. Because he basically took one look at the government and fired everybody and said, we don't need all this bureaucracy. People went out in the streets and got all upset and protested. You know, this is exactly what happened with Ronald Reagan in the 80s, when they just came in and were like, you know, we had a 70% top tax rate in 1979. Ronald Reagan was like, yeah, okay, that's ridiculous. So everybody got all upset about whatever they had to do back then, just like they got all upset with this guy. And now, like Elon Musk and everybody who's trying to do the right thing, you know, they're after this guy. Now, should he have given himself a pay raise? I don't know. I don't know the details, but if anybody out there deserves a pay raise, it's this guy. It's this guy. Because you know why? This guy is the only person who's actually picked up an economics textbook, read it, and then implemented it. One thing that's going to come back in 2024, other than crypto, is going to be economics. People are going to look at this and be like, you know, this economics makes no sense, which of course favors crypto. You know, things that are going on now are in no economics textbook. You know, like government spending too much money is, but government's printing money and taking deficits way beyond sustainable levels. Any economics textbook will tell you that ends badly, and that ends in inflation. Inflation is too many dollars chasing too few goods, period. Now, what's going on in crypto is that, you know, the Fed hasn't formally printed money like it did in 2021 for COVID. So the crypto market is going up in pieces. Like one sector will rally and one sector will sit, and then the other sector will go up, and then this sector will sit. That's the way it's been working. However, if Bitcoin ETF guys have to start market buying Bitcoin, which they're probably going to have to, because you're not getting any dip, right? You know, the only way to get a dip is if maybe you get these dips in altcoins because they go up 20% and they retrace 10. But that's good. That's good for us. It's good. Okay. I like this. Thailand's SEC greenlights investment institutional and wealthy individuals into crypto ETFs. One thing that people aren't focused on when it comes to crypto ETFs is that this is going to like mushroom out. So you're going to have, you know, so everyone's like, well, we're not going to compete with BlackRock in the Bitcoin ETF, but Grayscale has already got a Solana ETF. And it's a question of time before other countries say, oh yeah, we want to start offering Chainlink, Layer 1, DeFi, you know, decentralized physical infrastructure, whatever. I mean, it's a question of time before they start breaking crypto down into sectors, just like they do in equities. Now, are you going to, go on some foreign exchange and buy, you know, the Thailand Chainlink ETF? Well, maybe not, but it's a question of time, because particularly these guys at Grayscale, right? Grayscale was the Bitcoin ETF before there actually was one. Now they're going to diversify into other altcoins, and this has not been discussed. Everyone's waiting for the Ethereum ETF in May, right? That's kind of like the deadline for them to approve it or not approve it. I would imagine they are going to approve it, and if they don't, there'll be a down move and someone else will offer it, like Grayscale. I mean, you know, it's like in the short term, there's like nothing but buyers. Okay, Ether put demands signals weakness after 4K price. Okay, by locking in the right to sell ETH at a specified price, option traders are preparing for short-term weakness after the cryptocurrency hits a 2-year high. Okay, so I just said it on ETH. There's an ETF thing coming out. We don't know what the outcome of that's going to be. However, ETH gets to 4K just like it did last cycle. And what does everyone do? Do they start looking for 4,800? Do they start looking for price discovery like Bitcoin? No. According to this article, they go out and buy insurance against the market dropping, right? That's what a put option is. Now, we're not going to go through a whole explanation on options, but basically, this is the options market telling you that they don't really believe ETH is going to stay at 4K. How fascinating. Can you get dips after the halving, May, end of May? Yeah. But what happens between now and then, right? This is like on crypto Twitter, like 2 days ago. It's like, oh, it's the local top. Where's the local top? What local top? Like, why is everyone looking for the local top? Well, I can answer that because they all missed it. Sometimes this is a simple educational thing. The first thing traders do when they miss it is they start fighting it, right? They're like, oh, I missed it. Now I need to get short so it can go down so I can buy. Never happens. Never works ever, particularly in a massive fundamental and chart driven. It's like both of them are moving at the same time. Like if you miss it, take a deep breath. There'll be something else to do. Like Algorand hasn't broke out yet. Neither has Aave. There's tons of stuff to do. It's an equities nerd saying, don't fight the tape. The tape means the market because they used to look at the stock market on ticker tape. Don't fight the tape. These guys fighting the tape. It just makes me think it's going higher. Yesterday's webinar, which I would encourage you to check out in the Kaizen, I think it's all of this is in like the Bill Noble group, the links. If you need to buy a computer or you've just made spectacular gains, then maybe you take profits, but don't take profits for the sake of taking profits. This is hedging and protecting and buying insurance for the sake of hedging and protecting and buying insurance. They're doing the 2021 trade in 2024, and the whole outlook is different. The whole structure of the market, the whole reason it's going up is different. It's different. Okay. Ethereum doing an upgrade in 2 days. So a lot of these Ethereum upgrades have been sell the fact. I can't predict whether that's going to be true or not. Guess what? I can tell you this much because this was the way with the Bitcoin ETF. Everyone's like, sell the fact on the creation of the Bitcoin ETF. Wrong. Sell the all-time high print. Okay, that worked for a day. Wrong. It went straight back through it. Sell the Ethereum upgrade. Okay, have at it, boys. Good luck. BlackRock and all these people, they're all going to be down there taking it from you. Like a dip at this point is a good thing. Like it's like, oh, okay, right. It just didn't take off in our face. You got between now and the start of this Fed meeting on the 20th, and I actually think they're going to start rallying the market in the Fed's face before the meeting. And in the meantime, you got 3 to 4 days to sort of collect yourself and figure out where you're going to add to positions. Bitcoin sees another all-time high as crypto sees record inflows. Normies want in and they're not price sensitive. Let me say that again. Normies want in and they're not price sensitive. They don't care that they missed it. They don't care if Bitcoin was at 16 for 6 months. They just don't care. This is the thing that people need to get their heads. They need to get this into their heads. The people who are driving crypto are used to equities. They're used to buy high, sell higher. They're going to buy every single dip. Everything in crypto that we think is sell the fact, they're going to be like, oh my God, look, they gave us a dip and there's less Bitcoin in circulation. That's the halving. These people drive crypto, which is why Kaizen's putting me in here, on a more regular basis, because this mentality drives price. This mentality shows up in charts. This mentality changes how you look at the market. Even I got caught looking for a multi-day dip and you didn't get it. They rallied this thing at a point where no one would buy it right before the inflation number. Matter of fact, we, on this thing, we're going to go through all the different characteristics of the bull markets and how bull markets can get you so it doesn't get you. Okay, Financial Times in England has core inflation resumed its decline Probably not. Now, if you are looking for what is probably going to be the Bitcoin correction someday, the president of the United States is primarily concerned with the dollar, right? The dollar has multiple problems. They've weaponized it with sanctions. It should go lower. Politicians are going to say nice things about Bitcoin because that's what they're supposed to do to try to get as many votes as possible. But eventually, Trump is going to come around and say, hey, the dollar is the most important thing to me. The dollar is going lower, and that's Joe Biden's fault. That won't happen under my administration. That's a long way off. But if there is a Bitcoin correction, believe it or not, that could be it. That could be it. Because again, the president of the United States, he's concerned with the dollar. Now, on FOMO, on fear of missing out, Cathie Wood from ARK Investments, who never met a bubble that she didn't like, sold out of all her NVIDIA shares, and NVIDIA added like $1.5 trillion to its market cap. So that was kind of egg in her face, particularly since she never met a bubble that she didn't like. Now, that's unfortunate, and that's okay because, you know, she got off the train for the sake of getting off the train. Now, she cannot miss Bitcoin. She cannot miss Bitcoin. Not only can she not miss it, but she's probably got to get leveraged. So if you missed NVIDIA and you're in equities, you cannot miss Coinbase. You cannot miss Galaxy. You cannot miss MicroStrategy, Marathon Digital, Riot, Bitcoin ETF, IBIT. You cannot miss it. You have to be loaded to the gills. And what is the key message of this person who missed NVIDIA? The people who are going to FOMO into Bitcoin, because again, portfolio managers, their performance is measured against each other. So if portfolio manager A gets a giga leveraged Bitcoin and starts outperforming, portfolio manager B is going to go, oh no, I have to catch up or I'm going to get fired, because everybody will go to portfolio manager A. So like this normie thing coming to investor, I mean, it's got people flowing money in, and then that's passive investing where people just say, put my money in Bitcoin. And then there's the active managers that try to buy and sell and try to do better than just dumping your money in passively. Yeah, they got to get this too. And they may start going after any type of like Solana or Chainlink products or whatever's going to come out there, right? The reasons why markets are foaming at the mouth, according to Nomura, is that, again, the Fed is printing money. The Fed is printing money. Okay, now just in case you think that there isn't social disorder, like I've talked about this, then I stopped talking about it because I don't want to do a slip. Okay, there's a political think tank that says 57% of Democratic voters would oppose certifying the election results if Trump wins. Just a brief reminder, you know, Kamala Harris is in charge of the Senate, which would be in charge of certifying the election. I don't know if you remember this, but, you know, Trump wanted the current vice president at the time to not certify the election because he, you know, thought that it was a stolen election. Now, Pence wasn't going to do that, but things have gotten a little bit more radical these days, way more radical. So half of the people on the left think that a Trump election, even if it's a landslide, they should basically throw the Constitution out to prevent the guy from becoming president. Now, again, it doesn't matter what side of the argument you like. This is so colossally dollar negative, right? You have a country that can't govern itself. And this has happened throughout history. When you have a country that can't govern itself, the currency goes down. It's as simple as that. Okay. So I think you got the point. So we're going to go to tactical charts now. Okay. We're going to go to tactical charts. Okay. We're going to go to PowerPoint. I got to bring it up. Okay. Okay, dollar index. So DXY, the thing you can't talk about on YouTube, or at least publicly. Okay, so dollar index goes down. It gets to a target around 102. It exceeds the target, which is a warning signal that it's going to eventually turn around and go back down again. And algorithms, because the inflation number was a little hot, the computers automatically buy the dollar, automatically do whatever they're going to do, because the algorithms read the headline versus what would expect it, and they immediately do the trade, which is why I tell people that the first trade is always wrong, right? Like whatever happens, like the Fed comes out and says at a FOMC meeting, the Fed says blah, 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 blah. And then the market goes up and down, and whatever that trade is normally gets unwound, right? Algos will be like, oh, look, inflation, the Fed's not hiking rates, blah, 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 buy the dollar. Don't believe it. See this trajectory down? This is like down only. Then you get this A, B, C, like zigzag correction. You start seeing failed rallies in the dollar, that is going to fuel crypto. And ironically, lower dollar, higher silver, higher gold favors ETH. ETH does the best in these environments. So if there's an ETH ETF with the dollar falling, it's 5,000 ETH or 4,800. No one's talking about that. And then I think ETH is going to start pulling up, like I said, XRP, QNT, payment systems, Dash, don't laugh. I think I got that in the deck. Crypto as money, I was on this last cycle, on it. It didn't happen. Now it's happening. It is happening, and everyone's like sleeping. Bitcoin. Okay, this is a 4-hour chart, DeMark work. If you tuned in yesterday or the public market update, you know that these DeMark moving averages are not generated by, say, it's the 21-day or the 50-day. It's not like that. Okay, these things are generated based on quantitative metrics, as is just about everything else DeMark does. And I like to keep it simple. So every time you test these moving averages, like this particular one on a 4-hour chart, you dip below it, you come back. Okay, you dip below it, you come back, you go vertical. Okay, now, 71 is a point, 70 is a point. There's like no reason to believe that this moving average is not going to hold. And if they wick it down below it, it's almost like they're done wicking. It's like, okay, we wick. Okay, we wick. Are they exhausted yet? Is it going to go back to 67? If it did, that would be Christmas. Right? If they were going to take it down to 67, they would probably do something like that today. Where people who FOMO'd in yesterday wind up getting stopped out. And that's kind of classic, right? Run it up, news comes out, you have 5 days or 4 days or, whatever. At this point, I'm almost like, who cares? Because I got caught going like, okay, 3-day correction and it'll do this. And then we have time and, no. Okay, we want to look at price, want to find a support point, we want to try to get involved. Or we want to get involved if they blow it through the support point, whatever. The point is, the focus has to be on the bigger move. Okay, Solana. Okay, this 9 signal on DeMark work, to keep it very simple, that is time for a pause. Okay, it's like the first part of a larger trend. DeMark work is complicated. If you see a 9 or a 13, a 9 can be a top or a pause. A 13 can be a top. Now, if a 13 or a 9 is not a top, then you got something going on, particularly that 13 signal. The most bullish things in the world are bearish things that don't work. So Solana, it's time for a break. Solana's hanging out on this moving average at 147. I just don't know who's talking about $200 Solana or, $2 Jupiter. Who's talking about that? Nobody. Honestly, there's a lot of talk about Bitcoin, but there's not a lot of talk about some of this stuff that really hasn't moved. And again, like Jupiter, Orca, sort of like the big caps of the Solana ecosystem, not a word. Not a word. Avalanche, okay? Talking about catching everybody way off guard, right? This Avalanche did nothing. Like, it just sat on this moving average. Nothing happened. Then all of a sudden, it followed Near and Phantom. There's a security token narrative here. I'm going to tell you something, folks. All right. So these are DeMark topping signals on the 4-hour chart. And I got news for you. If this does not slow down Avalanche, Avalanche has a history of just running on its own. So if there's a catalyst, if there's a partnership with somebody, if there's a positive fundamental news or the token unlocks are over or whatever, you're watching Near move by itself. And this happened in 2021. And this could get totally stupid. Like everyone's like, well, Avalanche at 51. I don't know if I can do it because it was at 40. Well, how about if I said Avalanche could go to 100? How about that? Who's talking about Avalanche going to 100? Now, nobody. Now, is it tough to FOMO in after it's gone up? Yeah, you probably want to see if there is a pause. But I'm telling you right now, people, if there's no pause here, it's on. And Avalanche, like, when Near went and Phantom went, it was kind of like, well, no one's really talked about them in a while and they're under-owned, so it's like, all right, well, they went. But what, you got to go back to 2021 if you remember this. What happened when Web3, Solana, Avalanche, Phantom, Near, all of these layer ones, plus all the new ones, right? There's SEI has not moved much yet. SUI has not moved much yet. What happens when they start going after these things? Because potentially they could wind up in grayscale ETF products. Like all you need is a rumor or conceptual move to have these things just completely ramp, to have every hedge fund going, oh my God, we cannot wait for grayscale to come in. Because I haven't talked about crypto hedge funds yet. There's equities portfolio managers who are doing the whole Bitcoin thing. Then there's crypto hedge funds that are like, oh my God, man, we can wake up one day and certain cryptos can be up 30%, man. We can't miss those. Like XRP and Litecoin, the way they moved yesterday, everyone missed them. Avalanche moving the way it is, no one wants to pay 50. You don't want to pay 50, you're going to pay 70. You don't want to pay 70, you're going to pay 100. This is how bull markets hurt people, right? Now, everyone thinks, oh, it's a bull market and we just come in and everything just goes up. And no, that is not how it works. That is not how it works. There still is a level of difficulty in bull markets. Yesterday's educational webinar, I'm reading out of a trading book like Trading to Win, right? Every trader's like, you know what? I come to work every day because every day is a challenge to get my head right. You watch the traders in the Kaizen group, you watch them do their thing. That's exactly what they're doing, right? So I'm more of an analyst, right? I'm giving you like a picture. And then, hopefully when you listen to me and then go watch them, you can see their trader brains trying to get their heads wrapped around this stuff so they can take advantage of these moves. Now, one thing I will say is these kind of like momentum markets, they do hurt traders. They can hurt traders because they don't get the dips. Like traders want everything to go down. They want support to break so they can come in and take advantage of everybody selling. But if you don't get that, traders can get hurt with these moves because they get left behind and they keep waiting for ranges and they don't get them. Now, eventually they'll come in and they'll get overextended and then they'll get short that and then it'll fall into a range, kind of like what happened in January. But that's not where the money is made. And your head can really get messed up. So I'm not telling you to get off the stream and FOMO into anything. But if you do get stuff down 6% and it gets to a support point, you got to take a shot, especially over the next 3 or 4 days, because this thing going into the halving could be insane. Like look at Algorand. Some people are asking me, how do you know how to draw these cup and handle formations? Okay, well, first it goes down and then everyone gives up. And then everybody goes, oh, look, it's back. And then you get this awful chop like this over here. Everyone looks at this part and goes, oh, yeah, wow, look at that. That's great. Yeah, but you had to live through like 3 months of grotesque chop and lower lows. It's like down, up. Okay, here we go. Down. Okay, here we go. Down. And everyone goes, I'm done. And then, boom. They bore you. They frustrate you. Markets transfer money from people who aren't patient to people who are. And people who are going to tell me that it's too late in this market and you look at this chart, forget about it. I have 40 or 50 slides. I could do more. I could have indefinite number of slides. Okay, tactical, XRP, Not giving up on XRP. I am going to continue to pound the table. I am going to be on Twitter. I'm like, you know what? They talked about XRP incessantly for years and it did nothing. And then they all gave up. And now I'm just going to basically take the whole XRP army and make them follow me. Because I'm going to buy every dip in this thing until it doesn't work anymore. Period. End of story. Come get me. That's what I'm doing with XRP. Because everyone's like, oh, yeah, XRP's up. That's nice. They're not paying attention. They're not understanding, like yesterday's webinar, we covered this, that XRP has just confirmed a local bottom. Everyone's like, where's the local top? Forget the local top. Where's the local bottom in XRP? I mean, it was easy to like XRP when BitBoy was on TV every day with an XRP shirt on. Now he's hanging out with the Hex crowd. No one's paying attention. I think if 68, you look at this chart, 68 cents is a support point. Now, again, XRP could make a new low in this little intraday world. So I'd have to redraw this just as a disclaimer. But in my mind, if XRP's completed the dip off CPI and takes out 71 cents, you're going to 84 cents. And then yesterday's market update, I'm basically telling people XRP should be at $1. It's way overdue for a rally based on XRP history. And XRP can be at $2 by August. Period. Right? And who's talking about this? Nobody. What happens if Ripple comes up with a partnership because, I don't know, some group of governments or some big industry or banks or whatever say, yeah, we want in on crypto. We want XRP to do whatever for us. Or we want Stellar or QNT. Or Walmart takes Litecoin for Christmas. I don't know. But this is happening and people are not listening. Okay, Avalanche, right? Avalanche dipped to 46, took out support at 51. 56 is the upside target. Okay, again, you know, how many dips did you get in Avalanche? One. Now, again, I'm not trying to create FOMO about any specific coin, but from now until the Fed meeting, you got to ask yourself, I get a dip, I take advantage of it. You get stopped out, so what? Now what? That's it. That is it, right? Because if you miss this thing going into the halving, you're never going to forgive yourself, right? I screwed up yesterday. Now I'm getting my head right. I'm like, okay, where's support? Where can it break out from? How can I locate a decent trade? Okay, Bitcoin Cash. Remember Bitcoin Cash? Explodes. Wow. No one talks about it. Done. Assuming it's a one-hit wonder, no way. The Bitcoin complex, right? I was actually helping somebody try to get Bitcoin on Cash App. He was thinking about doing it, wanted to sell his equities. He didn't do it. And then Cash App was out of Bitcoin. And if you go to all these apps, right? PayPal, Robinhood, whatever, people are going to see, oh, well, what do I do? Okay, well, Bitcoin's at 72,000. Okay, I can get a whole Bitcoin Cash for $400. I can get a whole Litecoin for $100. And these things do have a purpose. They are Bitcoin, but they're faster. Bitcoin Cash has, you know, layer one style functionality. And then you draw this hidden pivot analysis. If, you know, you're close to support at 405, you may get a dip down there, but the risk is that it goes below 405 and the reward is a hidden pivot move to 611. I mean, where do you think this is going to be if Bitcoin is at 80? I mean, you got to really say that about everything. Where is this coin if Bitcoin is at 80? Because that's probably where Bitcoin is going. Jupiter. Okay, airdrop, cup, right? Round bottom. Okay, here, look at this wick, huh? Nice. How many people got out here? I mean, they washed everybody out. Everybody who bought Jupiter in here took at least some heat or had their gains wiped out off this wick. Naturally, that was the low because they forced everybody out. Now it goes up only because they washed everybody out. Who was down here taking it? Crypto hedge funds. Because crypto hedge funds probably remember missing Uniswap back in the day because Uniswap went up. Then there was a gigantic DeFi crash. Everyone thought it was over. And then it was the mother of all bottoms. And it just kept going. So like, you know, everyone's like, okay, well, coins on Solana, you know, sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't. Dude, people are not going to pay ETH gas fees if ETH goes up to 4,800. They're going to go trade on Solana. They have to. They have to. And this stuff is just like, Orca, Jupiter. I mean, are you telling me Jupiter at 80 cents? Uniswap at one point was like, I don't know, top 10, top 5 market cap back in 2020. This stuff, oh my God. XRP, some GAN work. I'm going to be doing more of this. Okay. These are GAN fan lines. April 1st, when the lines intersect, keeping it very simple. When the lines intersect, that can be go time. Some GAN lines intersecting at XRP. Polkadot. I'm all over Polkadot. Last cycle, it was like, oh, Polkadot this, Polkadot that. Now, no one's talking about it. Nobody. Who's talking about Polkadot? Me. Okay. GAN line, GAN structure, Polkadot should be at 20. Everyone's like, oh, I missed Polkadot at 5 after it just completely died. Don't forget that classic axiom, the bigger the base, the higher in the space. So Polkadot dead for 2 years. This is a weekly chart. 2 years of dead Polkadot. You know what happens when you die like this and you wake up? And then Polkadot, when I was, at another company, the #1 rated for blockchain code, the #1 project that they've ever seen was Polkadot at the time. Polkadot should be at 20. XRP should be at $1. XRP could go to $2. Who's talking about this? Nobody. Because it went from 5 to 10, everyone's like, oh, I can't buy it. Wrong. And Near, right? The same thing. Near, dead for 2 years. Wake up, dip, no one buys it. Up, breaking out of this GAN line, 9.4. Near could also just unwind. You may not need the GAN lines. Near went straight down, so it could go straight up. And again, no one wants to buy it because it's up. And that's hard. I mean, I'm not dissing. I mean, that's, everyone's like, well, don't FOMO. Okay. You got to get whatever dip you can get your hands on. TIA last night. Okay. This went up and then it did nothing. Then it popped up 10%. Then it kind of came back. Do not underestimate what can happen in like the new coins for the next cycle. Okay. Do not. Dash. Okay, here's some comedy. I like this last cycle. It did nothing but go down, right? It went up, but then it just completely died, right? The privacy narrative, I don't know. The tokenomics, blah, 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 blah. So you have a double bottom down here. And instead of drawing it up close, I was like, you're retesting the top of this double bottom. And, the high end of this thing in 2021 was $400. I'm saying, like, this is used in Latin America and it's Dash, QNT, Stellar, or all three, right? I just don't see how this kind of stuff doesn't explode because it's underowned, hated, right? It's underowned, hated, and people just, like I said, they don't believe it. Now, you don't have to believe in everything that I think no one believes in. I get it. There's only so much capital. But for everybody who thinks they missed it here, yeah, you need to recompute that. Render's gone up so much. I missed it. No, you haven't. These are fib extension levels for extreme parabolic markets. If 1184 acts as support, Render's going to go to 20. Like, can you imagine? Like, people, just think about messing with your head. This is why these support points from fib extension and hidden pivot are important. Like, if Render went to 20, then people would be like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed it. Right? You don't want to be in that camp. You would rather get stopped out 3 times now, trying to figure this out over the next 5 days. Because again, the trading group, they'll figure it out, right? These trading groups, if they buy a dip or they get involved in something, they may take all the profits if it goes back up, but maybe you leave some of it. Maybe you leave like what I would call moon bags after you take profits wherever you take profits at. Okay, PAL. So let's talk about AI. PAL should stop at 90 cents. If it doesn't, it's going to go to 118, but that really isn't the point. The point is, if AI coins are supposed to top and they don't, then you have to watch out for a wild increase in valuations. It's that simple. Okay, so we're going to be doing this market update I think every day going forward, so I don't have to give massively long speeches. But the point is, get ready now. Get your head straight, get your portfolio straight, rotate from things that have done well to things that haven't broken out yet. That's one way to do it. Or just listen to traders about where you're going to locate trades. And believe it or not, even though you're going to watch the traders or listen to me, you know who the best person to figure out what to do is? You. You can listen to me, look at charts. You can look at them on your own. I got a friend, looks at charts. The way she looks at it is she looks at the bubbles on Morales Money and says, okay, what has the same energy? Like what's up 8% today? What's up 5%? And are these coins moving somehow together? That's how she looks at it. And whatever way you look at it, that's fine. That's fine. As long as there's a way to look at it or you're listening to somebody else who's teaching it. But what I am telling you is look at it, look at it, look at it. This is last chance shopping, whether it's today, tomorrow, or 4 days from now. I am not going to shut up about that. We'll see you tomorrow.